Welcome to this advanced Vipassana meditation session. Take a moment to get nice and comfortable and gently close your eyes. Let's begin with a deep breath in through the nose to a count of 4. And pause for 4. Breathe out the mouth for 4. Again, pause for 4. And repeat. Let's just allow ourselves simply to observe the present moment, embracing a little purity and simplicity as we do nothing but observe the breath. For a little while, we'll continue to breathe in these cycles of 4. In traditional Vipassana, we do not control the breath in this way. However, boxed breathing like this can help us to focus at the beginning of our sessions. So just continue to breathe in those cycles of 4 until you feel calm and focused. Then you can let go of your breath and let it come and go as it will. And so for now, all we are doing is just allowing ourselves to experience the purity of awareness, allowing any thoughts or feelings to drift on by like leaves in autumn as we simply observe the breath. Now we are going to begin to label the sensations and stimulations of the mind. For instance, if while we are observing the breath we experience a thought, we are simply going to say, "This is just a thought and nothing more." Similarly, if the mind is drawn to a sound in the background, we are simply going to say, "This is just a sound and nothing more." And this is just the elementary level of Vipassana. We will deepen this, but for now, let's continue to observe the breath and label the things to which the mind is drawn. Remembering to use the breath as the anchor so that we continue to be calm and focused. And the manner in which we label distractions is like so. We simply, almost scientifically, analytically, say, "This is just a sound," or "This is just a feeling." And having done that, we then gently guide the mind back to the breath. And so again, all we are doing is observing the breath, noticing when the mind becomes distracted, labeling the source of the distraction, such as sound or thought or feeling, and guiding the mind back to the breath. I liken it to guiding an old friend. It is as though we were saying to the mind, "You have become temporarily drawn to a sound in the background. Here, let me guide you back home, back to the breath." It is that accepting, non-judgmental, friendly way of communicating with the mind. And so I'm going to be silent for a short while to allow you to practice that. Always remember to come back home to the breath when you need to. Now we're going to proceed into the next step of this advanced Vipassana practice. And here we become a little more insightful. In this step, whatever the mind is drawn to momentarily becomes the object of meditation. An example will help to illuminate this. I am meditating on my breath, just observing my breath. And here, my mind momentarily becomes distracted and is drawn to a sound. There is a humming sound in the background. I'm going to momentarily meditate on that humming sound, and it is as though we are seeing the purest nature of that sound. So for example, the sound that I'm hearing is the AC, but I'm not going to think of it as such. Rather, I'm going to meditate on the vibrational energy of that sound, observing the rawest nature of that sound. When we do this, soon the mind will no longer be distracted, and you'll notice that you naturally return to your breath. Allow me to give another example. Here I am breathing, meditating on my breath. Momentarily, a thought comes to mind of work. I'm not going to think of it as such though. Rather, I'm going to see the pure nature of that thought. It is a visual of colors and shapes. And so I'm meditating, simply observing the true nature of that thought. And so all we are doing is observing the breath, accepting that from time to time the mind will be drawn to some sort of stimuli, be it a sound or a thought or something else. We then make that stimuli the object of our meditation and observe it in its purest form. When we do this, you will find that the mind naturally relinquishes that distraction, at which point you can return to the breath. And this is the second stage of our advanced Vipassana meditation session. And again, I'm going to be silent for a short while to allow you to practice that. Remember to observe stimuli in its rawest form. And when you observe the stimuli in its rawest form, you'll notice that the mind lets go, and then you can return your awareness to your breath. And now, for the third step of our advanced Vipassana meditation. In this step, you're going to learn how to deal with problematic distractions, such as problematic thoughts. Continuing to observe your breath flowing through your body. And as you continue to breathe mindfully, I'll briefly explain. Sometimes we come across what I like to describe as sticky distractions. For instance, if you have a problematic thought, for instance a stressful thought, you'll notice that when you try to just observe it, your mind sort of gets caught. Hence why I call this being sticky. It is as though the thought were real and happening now, and your mind gets wrapped up in that. When this occurs, there is a specific way that we can become unstuck. And that is simply by describing. Let me give you an example. I am meditating on my breath, and here comes a problematic thought that is a little bit stressful. My mind is drawn to it and becomes stuck in this sticky thought. I'm going to describe this thought to myself. It is a thought of me at work, but I'm not going to think of it like that. Instead, I'm going to describe it in its sensory way. I'm saying to myself, this is just an image, and there are colors. I see browns and reds, and there are shapes and forms. For instance, there is a square here and an oval there. And so I am describing this thought, not by saying, oh, this is me at work, dealing with this problem, but rather by saying, oh, this is a image and there are these colors and these shapes and so on. And so you're describing that distraction in its elementary parts, such as the shapes and the colors. Or perhaps there is a stressful sound in the background. Then you can describe the nature of that sound, whether it is high-pitched or whether it has a rhythm, and so on. And so what we're doing is we're describing those sticky distractions in their elementary form. And you'll find that when you do this, it changes the way in which your mind, your brain is processing those distractions and helps you let go so that those sticky and troublesome thoughts and stimuli no longer bother you and your mind is able to escape their clutches and return to your mindful breathing. And so, let us practice that for a few minutes. Of course, do not deliberately bring up the stressful thought, but if one does occur, you now know how to deal with it. Please note that you can also deal with physical sensations in the same way. For instance, if you have a particular ailment that causes discomfort or pain, and you might also become stressed from it, try handling it in the same way. For instance, I have a neck injury and there actually is some tension in my neck at the moment. So I'm going to describe that in its elementary forms, saying that my neck, there is an energy upon my neck that is hard and it has a certain shape. It is sort of like an oval shape or a curved rectangle, and it is a little warm, and so I'm describing that in its elementary form. And that is our advanced Vipassana meditation practice. Feel free to continue to practice this for as long as you like. And then when you are ready, follow me with perhaps the most important step in any meditation, which is our transition from meditation back to normal. We want to open our eyes gradually and consciously, bringing with us that mindful awareness. And that is our advanced Vipassana meditation. I hope you have enjoyed this session. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like to work with me, why not join me for a private meditation session on thedailymeditation.com. Thank you. I'll see you next time.